We are live now.
Okay.
Hello everyone. RSMDACC Dharampet Arts and Commerce College, Nagpur welcomes you all to this certificate course in creative writing. Friends, creativity is intelligence having fun. And in this course, we would be meeting a galaxy of poets and authors to see how intelligence is having fun in their lives. Actually, creativity cannot be taught. You have to use your imagination, be observant and sensitive to the happenings around you, and have a good command over language to express your thoughts and imagination. For this course, we have invited poets and authors to talk about their creative writing. These people are not necessarily from the teaching fraternity. They belong to diverse fields of occupation, but one thing is for sure, they all have a passion for reading and writing. Let us understand how do they get their inspiration and zeal for writing. Today is the first day of our creative writing course, and we have the pleasure to meet the poet and author, Miss Biraj Dixit, a well known name in the field of media. Whenever we send our poems to the most circulated newspaper in Nagpur, the Hitwad, it is she who selects our poems. She has been doing this since last 23 years. Let me introduce you to her. Let me introduce her to you. And she is none other than our own Biraj Dixit, the Vidarbha desk head. And she has been working with the Hitwad for the last 23 years. And she has been editing Expressions, the poetry column, for 17 years now. Fortnightly column, just like that. And she has been editing, she has been running the various columns like this, just like that is also a very famous one. And she has been successfully running it for more than 7 years. Then she has contributed to the Hitwad's very profound and popular column, Think Line. Yes, she has done reporting for many cultural events, literary meets, dance, and music fests. She has done variety of features and written articles on many burning issues. She has completed schooling from Gondia, graduated in arts from LED College, pursued PG degree course in mass communications from Nagpur University, and she has also done her MA in political science. She has learned kathak for many years, and she was a district level winner, and she has performed for Doordarshan too. And she has written about her family also. And it is very nice because poets and writers are very emotional, and therefore otherwise people don't write about their family, but I just loved it that she wrote about her husband and her child also. Her husband is Rahul, who's the assistant editor at the Hitwad, and she has a daughter Ahana, and she's 13, and she's studying in Center Point. Okay, so now let us meet Miss Biraj Dixit. So yes, we are like, I think everybody is eagerly waiting to listen to you, Biraj. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah. And Biraj, just tell us, since when have you been writing?
I mean, since when I was a child, I do not remember a clear, distinct date, but I, wrote many pieces in my diary, but I kept that to myself. But as of serious writing, I did pursue that only after my journalism.
Okay. But do you think like really you learned many things while you were doing journalism, or you had already started writing? Like there are many people who don't learn anything formal, like as far as creative writing is concerned. But do you think that journalism has helped you, or were you writing right from your school days, and but journalism has given you that perception of, or it must have enhanced your writing skills? What do you want to say?
Well, if I, I can say for myself, then it is like throughout my life, creative writing has been a part. Right from my schooling, I had fantastic English language teachers, and they inculcated this love for reading. And they also, encouraged us to write simple things, though I never had the courage to submit it to them.
Uh-huh.
But then I kept writing, uh, and there is no particular point from which I can say, my trajectory moved upwards. uh, Writing has been a slow, very gradual process, and I feel everything has added to it: my schooling, my college, the family that I come from. I had a home with book full of, libraries. I had a
Yes.
huge library at my home, and so nobody told us to read, but books were the toys. So you naturally go pick something and keep reading. That helped a lot in, thought formation, basically, which helped me throughout my education. College, of course, was a fantastic experience. Very good English teachers, very good teacher of all languages, and they did not restrict to, should I say, language or think. Thoughts were inculcated. We were given a free run to read and express ourselves in our classrooms. That helped a lot. Uh, so when we consider creative writing, thought comes first. So that way, I think I am really truly blessed.
Yeah. And what is your area of writing basically? What do you love writing? Poetry, articles? What is your area of writing?
Everything, I dare say. I mean, I started with articles, of course, as a journalist, but then, I kept enhancing areas. Thankfully, my newspaper provided a lot of space for creative writing, as it still does. My foray into poetry was an accident, in fact. uh, it so happened that there was a photo which my editor asked me to give a caption to. And when I saw the picture, it was so very interesting that I wrote a whole poem out of it. Uh, so then he said, why not run a column? And, my first poem incidentally became the first poem of the column Expressions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Acha. Okay. And what is your style of writing? Like when you write poem, do you write long poems, or like whether you like write lyrics, or what is your style of writing?
I
Generally, it
don't
is
think
like,
there is a style. It depends on, the subject that I wanted to deal with. I remember my first poem, gathering pieces of from an estranged life. I said it was about an old man who was, uh, at the far end of life, waiting for death to happen, but living before that. And so that was a very long poem, I should say. uh, then again, some of them are pretty small. uh, so I think lyrical may be my style, but I do not restrict myself to anything.
yeah. And in this certificate course, I would like to tell students and all the people who have joined that yes, when you talk about creativity, this is nobody can teach you anything.
Mm.
Whatever it is, all a complete package, I should say. Whatever you learn, whatever is happening around you, all this is inside you when you write, or when suddenly something strikes you. So I think it is a complete package, isn't it? Okay,
Absolutely.
then, but how do you get the ideas for writing? Because when we teach creative writings to students, actually just now I told you that we cannot teach creative writing,
Hmm.
but still, whatever ideas actually students ask me, madam, how to get ideas? Because everybody wants to write, but what should they write? We tell them so many things. We ask them to read about the current things happening, and so that they have a lot of information with them, and on the basis of that, but somewhere they should feel something about that incident, and whatever emotions come, they should be penning all those things. Don't you feel?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, but then how do you get ideas? Like if you sit and you get you wait for inspiration, or you get something, you get the idea, or now you belong to the newspaper, so media people have to write on demand. You cannot wait for inspiration. So I was going to ask you that whether you can just write on demand on any topic, or you wait for inspiration, or you wait for some particular thing. Yes, I want to write on this particular thing. So what happens in generally, what happens with you?
In fact, both, 3 years in journalism, and we say it, that journalism is a literature in hurry.
Mm-hmm.
uh, you have to deliver within the time limit,
Uh-huh.
and then you are asked to write anything anytime.
Right.
So we have produced, I have written poems, say, in 5 minutes or something. You
Mm-hmm.
get a photograph, caption likho, and there a poem emerges somehow.
Yeah.
uh, but then, while sticking to the time thing, you always have this urge to do something completely hatke, bilkul away from that time limit, because some thoughts do not cannot be compressed as such. Thankfully, my newspaper provides a lot of space. For example, expressions. It used to be a weekly column. Now it's a fortnightly. Um that column, you are supposed to muse, so you have a lot of time. Similarly, with other things, you can, but as we're talking about ideas, uh, as a journalist, people do so many things that you are always full of ideas. This is, we are into the business of news, and news happens every minute. uh, Having said that, sometimes, you're so you know uh, not aware of anything happening, or not, interested in writing about what all is happening. uh, any creative piece can come out. I mean, it may sound strange, but my columns usually have a very, very weird issues, like the most popular, I believe, was the one when I wrote that without help of a maid, what a disaster can struck a house.
Yeah.
My maid was absent for one day, and what all things happened, and everybody was telling me, yaar, ye to hamare ghar ki story. I mean, maids are so important.
Yeah.
The other time, I believe, I was writing about the Diwali safai, and I just created a thing of the kitchen area, and how, we some things come across just, I mean, it's a happy reunion, I said, with my kitchen, because I'm, while cleaning, I'm finding so many things around, and that again was became very popular because it was hilarious, of course, humorously written. You need to have that thing, but then ideas are everywhere, I believe, everywhere.
Yes.
You just need to have
Yes.
that thing in you. I mean, most, even if you read most of the humorous pieces, they come from nowhere, actually.
Yeah, and you are talking about like mundane things which are happening every day. Maybe
Hmm.
everybody
Actually,
experiences,
actually.
but then that is the difference between a commoner and a poet, isn't it? The simple events, day to day, even incidents happening in the house, also they can convert it into a poetry or something like that.
Hmm.
So that is the poet's eye, you know. Yeah, so it is the perception which the poet has. And generally, what type of images do you have in your poems? Images, like, ki, many a times it happens that you must have suffered some sorrow or something like that, and then you don't want to write it because people would come to know that this is your personal something like that. And then you use different, not only for this thing, but you use different images in your writing, isn't it? And though you are not a student of literature, but let me tell you that, we also attach, because we've been taught like that black is associated with depression, it is associated with
Hmm.
sadness. So, we are the people who are and it has been happening since so many years. Sunshine is like happiness. So, we've attached all these emotions to colors and to things. So do you also tend to use the same images or and the same expressions and the same feelings attached to such colors and this thing, or do you feel that you write something different? Like I just want to say, like for example, black color, or when you talk of night, people say all the bad things happen at night. But night is peaceful. Night gives you that opportunity to just cover up everything, just leave out everything and wait, hope for a new day. So night is that intervening period of like if something bad has happened, if there are some unhappy events happening, so that gives the night gives you an opportunity to like expect something good, a bright day next day, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what type of images or what type of emotions, and how do you express your emotion? Do you also use the same what you say things which are attached, like colors, I'm saying, attached to the feelings and all those things?
Usually when you have when you read something, you do absorb things. So like you
Right.
said, all these metaphors are uh, so strongly attached that sometimes you really cannot get out of that mode. But I think, and as a poetry editor also, the pieces that I have really admired are some people who can really give a distinct meaning to a distinct situation,
Yes.
like you
Mhm.
said, night can be so peaceful.
Yes.
People, we have published poems where death is, not the dangerous thing that is taking you away,
Yeah.
but death is something that is so uh, uh, at the end to taking you to
Yes.
peace, final
Uh-huh.
resting, and the end of all suffering. People have written very beautiful things, contrary to our belief of what that particular word might carry. uh, so as when I have an image, I think over the years, earlier when I read my earlier works, they resembled that a lot,
Mm-hmm.
fixated image and then going across. But over the years, I've discovered that even by writing poem, so suppose I thought something in the morning, I am in one set of mood, then I go and sit on my desk and write about it, then mood might have changed, and then you contemplate again.
Right.
So even while writing, the process goes on, the images change. And so I think towards, I have somehow every time found myself concluding on a happier note.
Yeah.
Perhaps that is the
Optimistic.
need, yeah, to do things. So
Yes. So that is what happens many times. Whenever we write in the first shot, like whenever you experience that emotion and you write down, because in that flow you tend to write down. But maybe if you leave that and you come back to it again, do you think you improvise and you go totally into a different mood only? Because
it
the thing
happens
which
all the time.
it
It happens
happens,
all the time, and that is why,
but then
we
that originality, it goes away, like because of which you were overcome with that emotion and you wanted to like capture that emotion. Then after a certain period of time you feel that it goes away, that intensity. Because when you have that intensity, when you like maybe somebody has done something wrong and you are against all that government system and all those things, you are just bogged, and then you feel that you should write something. But then if the time passes, then you feel that intensity also reduces, isn't it?
you see, my should I say good or bad luck, whatever, is that I'm a journalist, and
Uh-huh.
the grooming has been in that way, that you are a
Mm-hmm.
journalist.
Mm-hmm.
So even in our college journalism classes, we were told to always uh, keep yourself a little at the distance so that you can see the larger view.
Mm-hmm.
uh, so even in your most subjective moments, objectivity comes somewhere down. This happens with me so many times. You're angry, you want to write something, and you write.
Right.
So
Uh-huh.
I make it a point to write in one go,
Mm-hmm.
because I know myself that if this moment passes, maybe I would be all my forgiving self and all. So
Yeah,
and
that
some
is
things
what,
do not deserve kindness, so
okay. But have you been influenced by some poet? You feel that, yes, I just want to write like him. You like
uh, uh, not any one particular poem, but
Uh-huh.
many. Like I remember it during my college days. I was massively impressed with Browning. I wanted to have that kind of thing that he did with his poems. You know, a sudden
Okay.
staccato ends and all. But as you know, you grow, you tend to think differently. Uh, then Tennyson was a bore over the years. You
Achha.
find you find yourself loving him.
Uh-huh.
uh, uh, but yes, as a poet, as a writer, when I read Gitanjali, Tagore's Gitanjali, I thought that I would consider myself really blessed and have reached an age when I could possibly write something which is so much surrendering to the higher forces. I mean, it is absolute what a prayer should be. And if I can ever write that kind of a prayer, maybe I may not be a very good poet, but as a person I want to grow to that level of you know uh, that level of a little sublimity where your poetry can aid your prayers.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you think that certain events in life, they shape your personality, and they have an impact on your writing too? So in life there are many things happening. So do you
Definitely.
think that they have an impact, and they mold
Definitely.
your personality, and then yeah, the that is how you are. You grow up like that, isn't it?
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
then does it affect your writing, or does it come into your writing? And yes.
Yes, I mean, see, basically, I mean, every creative person is more or less a subjective being. You can't keep yourself too far away uh, from the world, and you cannot
Ha.
affect be not affected so much. So incidents, events in your life definitely have a reflection on it. But then when I see my own work, I see that it has been a gradual progression towards, should I say, maturity, little day by day. Earlier, the person you were, your poems were like that, uh, very emotional, high pitched kind of stuff. But then, as you grow, you tend to be more understanding, more looking at all the sides and all. A little contentment, I think, is flowing in my work also.
Right. And then, but now you have been editing expressions, and you've been reading so many poems for so many years now, for the past 23 years. So, what is your experience? So that, even the students who are attending this course,
Hmm.
they might want to know ki if they send you the poem, how do you select? And
Oh,
what goes into
that's
the
a
selection? Yeah,
big.
because many people would like to know that.
That's a very difficult question, I tell you, because most people who send are not that literature student who uh, absolutely know the requirements of the thing. Most of them are free verses, some really delightful free verses, but some are I tell them that, please, if you don't give me lyrics, give me a thought, a proper thought which has been channelized. So that is one or two very little expectations. A thought should be there, and some lyrical quality to it. But then thankfully this city is full of creative writers,
Right, right.
and Hitwada, as you know, is caters to 5 states actually. We are Central India's largest English daily, and we get contributions from across these states. Some of them are marvelous poets. Some of my poets have gone on and published their books, and they have received a lot of acclaim for that also. So uh, I suggest that people keep if they keep reading poems, they
Yes.
may develop that faculty within to understand what is required or not. That's it.
Yeah. And can you share some of your experiences, like when you've been writing just like that and think line, because they are not poems, they are columns. So any experience you would like to share?
Just like that is my personal column. That is, my personal space in the newspaper. I can put whatever I want, so far as it requires the meter of sanity, basically. Uh,
What are the
but
topics generally? You write anything
they can
means?
be anything,
uh,
anywhere. And I am very fortunate that my editor, Mr. Vijay Fanshikar,
yeah.
is a brilliant person he is, but then he is also a fantastic writer, as you all know. And he has been editing all those columns, and n number of time he has given me this very generous insights, and most of the time till date he has never rejected any of my pieces. uh, and So just like that can be anything, as I said, a
Uh-huh.
maid not coming to your house, to how people have not really understood Mahatma Gandhi, to this is my personal space, so it could be anything. uh, I usually intended it to be a light, a humorous thing, because we are already full of too much happening in the world, and not all good things are happening. So I wanted it to be humorous, but over a period of time I realized that some things need to be spoken in the way you want it to be. And just like that promotes my word of it. My recent piece on how, we were celebrating Navratri, and we were publishing stories of rape and murder and atrocities on women. So this dichotomy of a nation, I thought people should reflect what is going wrong. I mean, we cannot always blame the laws. You will have to somewhere consider your own method of running the society. You are still a society where boys are so darling and girls not so
Yes,
darling.
yes, yes.
So, and that has resulted in so many evils happening in the society. That little reflection, I thought that only candle marches will not do. You will have to start from your basic home. So just like that can be anything, any topic under the sun. As for think line was started to really promote some very to in fact debate some very crucial issues that were happening in the world as such. So there were the Hitwad's top brass was contributing to it, all of them. uh, so there it was a huge space. And I remember writing about about uh, unwed mothers.
Okay.
These are topics that require too much of research, too much of uh, authentic information, and then your analysis will represent your paper's view on that.
Right.
uh, Merit, the criterias of authenticity, correct information, and correct arguments also. uh, that one thing. Then I wrote about I believe uh, sarita Sarita, I'm forgetting her name. She was uh, she died during her pregnancy because of abortion laws in Ireland. Of course, that triggered too many things, and then an entire they did change their laws to suit them. But that I related with the abortion laws in India, and how things in India also need to change. uh, but my I think my most popular, that became most popular think line was when I reprimanded my own fraternity of journalists, uh, particularly electronic media. I mean, print media were not too good also, but electronic media did a haywire job of when Major Abhinandan was, in Pakistan's custody. Journalists asking questions like, "What is India doing?" to defense minister, as if where we were attacking were like stupid. So the headline was that let us be the voice of the nation, not its noise. That was very popular. So these require very in-depth analysis and insight. Think line is a different ball game altogether. But my experience with both of them, I mean, I've grown tremendously with these two columns as a person, as a thinker. I mean, you really learn so much from your own work also, is what I felt doing those columns.
Yeah, definitely. Now moving over to Kathak, because yeah, Kathak is also, I think, very near to your heart. You've been learning Kathak, and see, like writing is also an art, and Kathak is also an art, and both express emotions. So, which one do you like? I know that this is your profession, but from inside, what do you think? Which one do you like the most? Do
It
you
is
like
very
your
hard.
expressions come out in Kathak more, or in writing like poems? Poems,
It's
any
very
creative
hard.
writing.
I think maybe writing, because writing is easier. You have a lot of scope. Kathak is uh, a classical dance which requires a very classical bent of mind also. So you have to work in a framework there. And besides, it's very difficult. Writing somehow came very easily to me. Dance also came very easily to me. I mean, I love dancing, and I have been a dancer all my life.
Uh-huh.
But particularly Kathak, you have to have a lot of foothold in the art before you can even present it. uh, Writing is kind of easier. So no, I won't say that is closer to my heart. Both of them are wonderful, but writing is easier.
Okay. And what is your message for the students who would want to try their hands in creative writing?
uh, well, I would want to tell them that creative writing is something that I believe everybody should do. Everybody. Because there is a creative person in every person.
Yes.
And writing again is such an art that you should uh, you will not know until you cultivate it. So you
Right.
do cultivate it. As for you, you may come across what couldn't be said as failures, because some editor is rejecting your work. Please don't consider it bad. They are constrained of spaces for all the
Yeah.
time.
Yes. Yes.
But then do keep writing, do keep using platforms where you can get a larger audience for your work. So that way you will really, really, really progress. And even if nothing happens, creative writing is the best form for personality development.
Yes.
So I think everybody should do some or other sort of writing for it. And those who are really into creative writing, I would request them to please, I mean, they, of course they do it. You can't be a writer without you reading things. But then over a period of time, I've realized that the art of reading is on decline.
Yes. Yes.
I would request all of those who are creative writers and who are readers to be more vocal about it, so that even your friends, your people around you, are tempted to pick up the book and read and do themselves right. So please do that.
Yeah, and one last question. Like, as you said, people should keep on writing, but nowadays, people don't want to read if it is a long thing. Yeah, like it should be a 60 news in 60 words and everything so condensed and concise. And do you think that expressing it in a few words is also an art? So, do you think that I don't know what to say, but like everything is reducing. Everything is like nobody wants to read long poems or long articles. And even if you want to say something, the children will say, come on, say it in short. And therefore, TikTok and all these things have come, and people want like in 1 minute, whatever you want to say, come on, say in 1 minute, 3 minutes. It's like that. So, what do you want to say about this? Do you think
That
that
is
is
that is a
another?
huge concern of the print media, actually.
Uh-huh.
because not only is it, bad for them because they publish things and things should be read, uh, but it reflects kind of sadly on the society also, because we all know this is a fast food era, but then the evils of the changing food habits like that. Ditto with reading also. uh, you know uh, Quickly, it's some things are, a drop of water, drink it
Yeah.
quickly.
Hmm.
Some things are ocean. How can you do that? You
Yes.
will have to walk full length, you will have
Yes.
to do that. And then again, here is a tendency of, uh, doing things so quickly, and quickly is is not a quality for all times actually.
Right. Right.
So I my
The
request.
smileys, yeah, smileys cannot express everything.
Actually,
Yeah.
words, smileys are no alternate for words. So my request again would be to do not fall prey for that, because reading a huge novel will not only arm you with deeper thought, deeper meanings, deep, profound words, profound expressions, but also with the patience to continue, which is so very essential today. So very essential.
Yeah. And before we move on to media and creative writing, we would like to see some of your poems also. So, if you could share some of your poems and tell us something about them, and we would also like to know which poem is really, which one do you like the most? We can talk
Uh,
about that.
uh,
Yeah.
uh, there are many, I do not have the list of favorites, but this one was kind of rather, uh, should I say, it came at a point when things were changing for me in a
Oh,
way. I
huh.
had just been back from a Vipassana session, and uh, that brought in a completely different kind of insight. So please bear with me. This
Yeah.
is kind of philosophical, but please. uh,
You want to share the screen? You want to show it? Or
uh,
you'll
uh,
read it?
will it be okay if I read?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm.
The poem is titled Search. Close your eyes and see the world. The old wisdom haunts the new. Mired in the quagmire of life, questions do bother a few. Petty riches of the modern world charm a little, but not long. A few sunshines of glory eclipsed, battered like an old song. Emptied of passion, heart walks astray, life's longings demand a say. Then the words of the Lord, search within, find the soul, comes crushing aside a vision of life's true goal. Within, a world beckons you, you to yourself sight anew. Cares of the ephemeron melt, lending lightness of the morning dew. Flashes of eternal harmony trespass into distress's domain. One short second, another again. Into life's conundrum, a pause remains. Mind at peace, the soul walks free, with easy steps, light and gay, shedding each acquired garb of fury, fondness, fright, and fray. Of mortal jargons, dubious intellect, within all the answers dwell. Close your eyes and see the world. Allow life's expanse to swell.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yes. And thank you very much. And we move on to uh, the media and creative writing. Yes. Over to Biraj Dixit. Yes.
Thank you. स्क्रीन करना पड़ेगा. मैं ही आऊँ ऐसा स्क्रीन में. मतलब अपनी स्क्रीन में नहीं दिखूँ ऐसा. Okay, should I start?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Uh, Good afternoon, all my friends. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and my wishes for a great year ahead. We meet at a time when the world is passing through a rather difficult time. These are indeed terrible times, and you see people very unsure of themselves, little scared, little aloof, living lot within themselves. They are also a little introspective. So, you see, while this may be a bad time for the world, creative souls can gain much from it. They're actually enriching themselves as the pandemic has given them a lot of food for thought. While we at newspapers publish the daily rise and fall of corona cases, we have also witnessed a spurt in receiving articles, poems that talk so much about impermanence of life, the transient world, uh, this too shall pass type of philosophical works. So I guess for creative souls, this is a period of emotional churning. And so may I dare say that we meet at a rather opportune time. Well, my brief here is to discuss how media can help creative writers. First of all, let us see what actually is creative writing. You may have a world of wonderful definitions, but I'd rather be direct. Uh, when you say you are engaging in creative writing, what you basically want is to put your thoughts into words, present it in such a way that you get appreciated by a larger group of people. And here, media can be of enormous help to you. First, let me first let us dwell a little on the very first step of being a creative writer. What is required is a good amount of faith in yourself and a little on others. During my talk with Madam Sardeshpande, I told you how enormously, uh, I did not come out with the poem column. It was an accident, and how I was, I was actually very hesitant to submit it also. It so happened that my editor was standing just next to me, and I did not realize he was behind. So when I deleted my poem, he, blasted me and told me that no, this is a wonderful piece of work and it should go as it is. So I believe the first thing is never be scared. Okay, if the thing that or the regret that you may have is always of not doing thing rather than doing it. So it's okay to fail rather than keep guessing kya hota agar de dete. I know that many young writers carry my prejudices. Uh, I was never sure of myself, and many might not also be sure of themselves. But I assure you, the world is full of weird people. And if you think you are weird, please join the club. Okay? So you write whatever you feel is maybe not worth submitting. Do submit it. Do take it to people who may, or to platforms that give you a wider audience. Some Khadu's editor like me would say, no, sorry, we cannot publish this. But then you do tell yourself that the loss is hers, okay? You please keep on writing and keep on submitting. Please remind yourself that there were the likes of Jane Austen and J.K. Rowling and so many others who were rejected in the first go. So, maybe you're one of them rejected earlier on and then Jane Austen for later. I would want to quote Salvador Dali when he says, uh, "Have no fear of perfection. You will never get it. So it's okay. Okay. So be confident, courageous. Plan your thought. Submit them. Excuse me. Step two will be that you have written something. and you want it to be appreciated, so you search for platforms. Then of course there are WhatsApp, Facebook, and so many platforms in social media where you can really earn hundred and millions of likes and claps and emojis saying wows and all things. uh, and I really do not have anything against social media. I think it's these are amazing platforms. uh, the only little problem is that while you may get many likes of it, you would not really be sure whether these likes are for your work, or whether these are, a friendly indulgence that your friends are just engaging you into. uh, the best part about the print media, or the print media basically, is that when you submit your piece, you usually do to people who are really, very very stubborn in their do's and don'ts. And they when you write it to them, and when they agree to take it, then you be rest assured that your work is excellent. Okay. uh, what do creative writers basically do? Basically, they construct a thought, give it a shape in terms of words, decorate it with anecdotes, stories, quotations, perhaps alter a few words, to make sure that whatever they have thought has been conveyed. So, broadly, basically, this is what you do when you are creatively writing. Here at the very beginning, I must underscore that all forms of media, print, electronic, social, whatever, they are perpetually constrained of space and time. This may not be the gospel rule for every publication or website, but most of them will ask you to constrain your thoughts or your words into uh, limit word limit. So at the very beginning, at the level of thought only, you uh, constitute it in such a way that it sticks to the limit whatever has been set. Okay. The benefit of sticking to word limit ensures that your thought reaches the readers as you wish to put it across. Editors, I assure you, will never fail to dabble, but by sticking to word limit, you will enormously reduce their powers. Okay. So please stick to word limit. uh, the next is, of course, the first thing was a thought. And so how do you gain good thoughts, or where does this thought come from? As during my discussion, writers always, those who want to write always are in search of thoughts. Well, I have this is a quote from somewhere: to a fine mind, entire universe is a great book. To a beautiful mind, nature offers the best stories. To an observant mind, entire world is thought provoking. So for creative people, I think the problem should be of plenty. But to be well formed, your thought ought to be well informed, right? And how do you do that? Simply by reading. There is this very simple equation: you cannot write well unless you read well. Good writing is part two of good reading. Okay. Reading, enormous reading, is the single most key to success in writing. I remember someone submitting a story to my publication, and the copy editor went berserk laughing. And then we contacted the gentleman, and she confronted him, and she said, "Ki, this is the direct lift from O. Henry's gift of Magi." He said, "नहीं नहीं, ये तो बिल्कुल मेरा है. This is the love story that I have written, the love story of Jedi and Deep. My editor said, no, this is Jim and Della. He said, no, that is Jaideep and Deepa. Now, my editor, was, you can't be too rude. So she politely said that, uh, you know, uh, that two intelligent people might think absolutely the same way. I mean, maybe you and Mr. O. Henry might have this common thought coming to you, but no, no publication will carry two stories twice. So please, it would have done a world of good had you read O. Henry, you know. So, well, we do not know whether he did or he did not. But the thing is that reading will not only arm you with fantastic words, fantastic thoughts and expressions, but will save blushes also. Then again, reading is also uh, a sure way of gaining a handsome vocabulary. Okay. Words will flow effortlessly to you when you are well read. My editor makes it a point to tell this little news intro to all journalists and journalism students to impress upon them the importance of words. We all know that sinking of the great Titanic was very shocking incident in history. Newspaper all over the world covered it. One of the leading stories of then leading newspaper published a report of the care taken by the rescue workers in by the rescue workers. Okay, so the report intro read, "Bodies were plucked from the heart of the sea." Mind you, not lifted, not picked, but plucked. Plucked as we do to flowers, to explain how delicately that work was done. Simple words but profound emotion. Yet another Pulitzer winning write up came at Washington Post. An entire school building of a village had collapsed, killing many children. Now imagine the intro of the story. A village buried a generation today. Simple, but so profound. Somebody has so wisely said that limits of one's expression is limits of his experience. Detour with reading. Limitations in reading will reflect in your written expression, which again means that your vast experience in reading will reflect in your writing. I am telling you this because in my 23-year-long career as journalist, I can say this with some authority that reading, this beautiful art of reading, has gone down considerably over the past years. How can I say? Well, you get it from people's reaction, their comments, their opinions, their expressions, of course, their written expression. So, friends, starting to write anything should be, should come second to readings. Arm yourself with good books, read them well, and you would see things going well for yourself. Reading will also ensure you that you are armed with anecdote stories and incidents that you would need to decorate your creative pieces with. Of course, in our contemporary times, thoughts are free flowing. Social media outlets like Twitter, Instagram provide easy access to you to air your views, your emotion, and express your opinion. You can come across so many young creative minds through these media. I mean, they are wonderful. Their ready wit and ready humor are delightful, actually. But, you know, These are also the time when one has to remind oneself that language is such a double-edged sword. You should not, or you should understand where the line is drawn so that you do not cross it. Albert Camus said, "The purpose of writer is to keep civilization from destroying itself." Mind you, you have a huge responsibility. Now, the language that is used is also very, very important. When we in print media write and know that printed word is carried for generations, a certain binding comes naturally with the job. We are told you can prick, not pierce. You can pinch, not puncture. You must understand that written word is read and reread, and this goes on, and so your responsibility as a writer would be manifold. Creative writers must understand this responsibility very well and very well in advance. That, excuse me, in their job, that their job involves people with emotions, with faith, with belief structures, with huge sentiments. Of course, we all wish to bring change at one time or the other. We all wish to change something in our systems. We all wish to change some of our laws. We all wish to see the end of what we consider is oppression. And writers are bound to use their art to bring these changes. But this must necessarily involve profound thinking, which is above bias and prejudice and appeals to our sense of justice. We must be very clear that our words come from absolute sense of conviction. You must have often heard that the primary job of media is to inform, educate, and entertain. In all these areas, creative writing can really contribute. We journalists have this nasty habit of dissecting things threadbare. At a very primary level, we are taught to keep our eyes on what, where, when, how, and why. You know, a lot of our thinking revolves around these things. We at times behave like those insufferable kids who keep on asking questions, and I you've seen that in media. We keep on asking questions, keep on asking questions, but the underlining factor is that you should be absolutely sure. But even in our troubled world of separating facts from fiction, we leave a good amount of space for creative writing. You can also become a media while creative writing. You can also inform, educate, and entertain. Many articles that we receive are very informative pieces. In the age of Google, you may say that who needs information? But articles really help you to understand the larger picture, gain a proper insight. You know, we are in the midst of a pandemic. We are facing threats of newer strains of coronavirus. We also have the good fortune of having a vaccine around, and let's wish that we all get inoculated very soon. But many well read people have in these times contributed to us very informative articles on virus, vaccine, history of epidemics. You all must be aware that earlier epidemic, the influenza one, hit the world some 100 years ago. The pandemic's first wave had people still taking time to understand the virus and understand the virtues of social distancing and wearing masks and all. They also thought that it hit the elderly or people who had less immunity. Then the second wave came. It affected mostly the younger population, and the most affected, of course, were the working men. Most deaths happened in the age group of 20 to 40 and working men. So, how did this change life? Well, it opened the doors for women to enter into workforce. So, women coming out of the four walls had more to do with dire necessity than the thought of equality. So, you see, through creative writing, you can inform, educate. You must use this tool to do that. Even honest pieces of emotional upheavals often offer an insight into how world operates. From being a nation of ultimate respect to women, to parda pratha, to four walls of the house, to ultimate norms of decent behavior for a woman, to elimination of sati, to getting over the gender divide, to getting elected, women to get elected in our power structure, to acknowledging that rapes happen, to making stringent laws against domestic violence, to discussing unthinkable topics like marital rape, paternity leaves, and to acknowledging that कुछ बंधन बेटों को भी होना चाहिए. We as a society have come a long way. Of course, we have miles to go till we can claim that a certain amount of justice has been done. But this rather slow process has had huge contributions from writers. Writers who often subtly or maybe very vocally, very eloquently touched upon these subjects, touched upon the unfairness of the society. They peeled layers and layers of social hypocrisy to underline the fact that women in India needs added protection. Women in India were often abused. So writers have done this wonderful job. May our clan grow. But while doing all this, we need to have a very hard look on ourselves. We must see and analyze our own viewpoint. Whether it is biased, it is prejudiced, you have to be absolutely sure. And of course, you can't live a life of such hardness forever. So, entertainment is a must. Media's role is to entertain. Also, happiness, they say, is contagious, and creative writers all over the world uh, keep entertainment afloat by writing wonderful stuff. We in journalism also prefer to leave those gray things, a little away. For our headlines, our breaking news, everything is somehow very, very reflection of ugliness in the society. So all publications also provide spaces for lighter readings, lighter pieces. uh, I honestly take a huge effort in writing my column just like that. Uh, all publications, be it daily, newspapers, magazines, periodicals, journal, offer space for creative writing. My own newspaper, the Hitvada, offers, I would dare say, a very generous space for creative writers. Many other publications also do so. Those of you who have been reading Hitvada must have come across a little column by the name Expressions that allows creative souls to muse. I have had the good fortune of editing that column for 17 years now. 17 years of people contributing to it. It used to be a weekly column, but now it's a fortnightly. People of all ages and groups are wonderful contributors to my column. Should can I show some of my work to you?
Yes, this is
Well, this is a poem, A Traveler's Soul. I had written it on my mother-in-law's demise. She was one, huge lover of travel. This is a little tribute to her. This, of course, is about women and the source of their suffering, silence. This is uh, this is a poem that I have dabbled with trying monosyllabic words to express. If I may read, a song, soulful, sad, lips, listening, line, memories, a flood, a drought, love, allure, allure, melody, motionless, moving. अरे नहीं कर देना फिर. So, नहीं वो नहीं. So you see, this is a column. For 17 years, people have been generously contributing to it, and I invite all of you to please, if you come with some wonderful work of, verse, please contribute to this column. Then again, if I may say, I remember as a small girl, I used to cut clippings of poems, articles, and features published in newspapers. Some of those are still fresh in my memory. One of these poems was published in the erstwhile Nagpur Times, which was a darling newspaper of the city for many, many years before it closed down. This poem is by Lawson Fernandez. It is about a little girl, but it is, I think, all of our story. And this is a very funny, very interesting poem. As we pass into college age, we realize the joy of school age. The discipline that was the integral part of it, the fun, the innocence that goes with it. First period would be English prose, a chance for everyone to doze. While at the back, a superstar's page would pass all along the rows. And oh, that subject with numbers fun. Mathematics was not at all fun. Simple and compound interest, ratio and proportion, difficult to get through without tuition. Third in the line was Hindi, lessons of greats like Gandhi, but getting marks in poetry was like winning a bumper lottery. Mughals and British formed our history, when girls would busy themselves with palmistry. As I do not remember anything of science, here I have to end my life. Isn't this wonderful poem? It's actually very simple. The idea actually is very simple, but so wonderfully done. This has been an all-time favorite for me. There are, of course, other avenues also. Uh, at our desk, usually articles galore. You can see so many avenues in many publications all over the world. My own column is an example of how generously my paper offers space to us. See, these are, some of the hilarious pieces. This is a serious one about a realization, about awakening. It narrates a little of Upanishads and all. This is again when, cases of suicides, particularly we know that the unfortunate Sushant Singh Rajput case, this was written at that period. This again is a very light musing. It is rather a poetry in prose form. And this is, of course, the period when our kids are locked in their homes, not going to schools, and the trauma that mothers face because of, their little apples of the eye being constantly at home. This is a funny, take on that. This again was a kind of hilariously presented serious issue. uh, the percentage that, the cutoff percentage that most colleges are offering, and the grueling time that students are having. This again is an on education. This is another part of that human story. And this again is a hilarious take on how, things can go wrong in a household in minutes. This was what I was then talking about. uh, from divine to dust, the woman's story. uh, this is what I deeply feel, that our society should think, and uh, should cut down massively on its hypocrisies. And this is readying for the old normal, which was the real normal, when we will all have vaccines, and we will all be inoculated and returning to our daily lives as we used to do, hopefully soon. So these have been my columns, but my newspaper offers a lot of space to writers. So one such wonderful supplement that we bring out is our Sunday magazine. We call it Inside. It offers a lot of space to writers to write. Of course, there are demarcations. Some are on health, on science, on animals, lot of things. But I mean, you just go through it and you'll understand it. So this again is the middle space. Middle space is our very, very popular column. People contribute to this all forms of article, and mind you, some of our very brilliant writers of the city have featured in this column. uh, Most of our honorable speakers who will be addressing you uh, in this series are also contributors to this column, and they have, contributed such wonderful pieces to it. This is, of course, an open platform, so all of you are most welcome to contribute. Then, as I was saying, our Sunday magazine, this is the inside. This is its front page. And as you can see, it caters to a varied range of issues. This is my expression column. Just second to it is the book review section, where you can always contribute. You read something wonderful, please share your experience. And again, there this is the space for travel logs. You People keep visiting wonderful places, keep collecting notes. Please pen them in proper thought and proper article format, so you can really inform others about your travel experience. uh, as I was saying, that creativity is a very, very uh, generous process. You can have n number of thoughts and n number of musings. So uh, in publications also, they create space for your musings. So as I said, on many occasions my newspaper has, rather than carrying a caption to a photo, we have published poems with it. This one was much appreciated. अरे इसको थोड़ा इधर कर दे, थोड़ा इस तरफ हो पाएगा, वो दिखने. The artist picked up his brush and spilled lovely hues on earth. An artist picked up his faith and crafted the creator in his mirth. Creator's creation, it's all but art and play, the impregnable infinite, or a house of clay. Plucking rich from the endless bounty, The artist bestows gifts divine. He too dreams of omnipresent and gives him his shrine. Lo, creators' creations, it's all but art and play. Majestic in each other's company, magnanimous are their way. You see, this was just a photo taken, and the arrangement of clouds and the sunshine was such that the photographer, Mr. Rajas Devtare, uh, found it amazing. There's a shrine here and the divine up there. So that created the thought. Then, of course, there are many other publications who have, in fact, inspired my creative writing. Some of their works are so wonderful, so profound that these are my all-time favorites. I would really, really recommend you all to please, uh, if you wish and desire to read something very good and very profound, these are the magazines that I would recommend you to. Reader's Digest, my all-time favorite, and you will come across many people who would recommend this to you. Not only do you find a variety, you can get so many ideas from this book, and but the language again, we Indians have this habit of using bombast everywhere. I mean, the more big words we use, the more attractive we become. This is a clear negation to that. Please read so that you understand the fine difference between not going overboard and simply putting things and yet making it so profound. This again, you all must be very aware of. It has its limitations. I mean, National Geographic is about our planet, so it deals with that larger issues. But then again, the writing, the way they approach the subject, the way they uh, easily narrate the entire story, it's one huge thing. I mean, if you all can subscribe and learn from it, it would do wonders to your writing, I tell you. You all know, of course, the Time magazine. Here again, I mean, whatever they feature makes the news, they say. But here again, writing, ideas, thoughts, and creativity. You can learn so much about it from them. This is you see the artistically well thought work here. Time to go. And here is Mr. Trump, as you can all recognize, being shown the door. Pardon me. So, we are all talking about creative writing, and when you are about to create something, you cannot care much about boundaries. Boundaries in creative writing are like those latitudes and longitudes that are on globe. They are on globe, they're not on earth. Okay, so ditto with writings. I mean, people will tell you that there are articles and there are features. I am sure you the lectures later will give you a wonderful insight on the nuances, the little differences between them. But all I want to say is, don't restrict yourself to boundaries. Boundaries or these demarcations are just for convenience sake. All writers have this primary itch to inconvenience the world, and that is your defining moment as a writer. Okay. And as an editor for all these years, I would place this one request to you: be as original as the internet will allow you to be. And now I conclude on a quote by Mary Lou Cook. I believe Madam Deshpande did, Sardeshpande did, mention this. But this is an interesting thought, and I'll leave you at that thought. Creativity is inventing, experimenting, growing, taking risks, breaking rules, making mistakes, and having absolute fun. So, my creative friends, have fun. Thank you.
Stop sharing your screen so that we can see you. Yeah. So just stop sharing. Yes, now you are visible. So that was a fantastic session, and we all enjoyed. Yes, now we all know creativity and where to get inspiration. And you actually explained every aspect of like what goes on in me when you talk about media and creativity. So you've covered all the aspects, and we enjoyed your poems, especially the artists, and we enjoyed just like that. You shared your experiences about editing, and your think line is also interesting. And really, we all the students have really they must have gathered a lot from this session, and thank you very much for that. And that was the first session, and we have started with a bang, I should say. So thank you very much,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Dixit. Yes, you made the session very interesting. And dear students, yes, good writing is remembering detail. Yes, most people, many a times want to forget, but don't forget things that were painful or embarrassing or silly. Just turn them into a story that tells the truth, isn't it? And by the way, everything in life is writable about, if you have the outgoing guts to do it and the imagination to improvise. The worst enemy to creativity is self doubt. So never doubt about yourself. And as a writer, you have to have the 3 Ds: drive, discipline, and desire. So if you are missing any one of those three, you can have all the talent in the world, but it's going to be really hard to get anything done. So get going. Yes. So thank you, Biraj, once again. And dear students, so see you tomorrow. We will learn article writing from another expert whom we have invited for tomorrow's session. And till then, goodbye and happy learning. Thank you.
Thank you.